So before you had this grand idea of sunscreen designed for black people, black women, black men, just black skin, um, was there a gap in the market for this? Because sometimes like there doesn't need to be a gap in the market. You just have a new perspective. But was there a gap in the market you saw? And what was the thing that's like, I got to go in on this?
I mean, if you really want me to be so transparent and brutally honest,
That's why this is
you want
Black
me to
Tech Green
go.
Money. This is what we do.
All right. So in 2015, right, it was the emergence of like Black Girl Magic, Black Girl this, Black Girl that. And it was just like, okay, it was our time. I don't know if you remember this, but Black women were winning.
Yeah.
So a lot of my friends were jumping into hair care, skincare. And listen, I constantly have ideas. So when I seen them doing that, it was like, okay, it's time for me to execute one of my ideas. Which one is the best one? And because I'm a woman of the sun, at the time I was living in Miami. I currently live in Los Angeles. I love being on the beach. It was, okay, what do you think about sunscreen? My friends would offer me sunscreen, and I would tell them like, "Do you see my complexion? That. Do we curse on here?
Yeah, you do good. Do you?
Okay, so that shit don't work on this complexion." So I jumped on the computer and just started to type in keywords: sunscreen for ethnic skin, sunscreen for black girls, sunscreen for brown girls, and nothing came up. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. And it was twofold, threefold actually. It was jumping on the wave of Black Girl Magic.
Yeah.
A, B, finding a space that wasn't talking to Black women and Black women weren't there. And then B, what's about to make me some money?
Yeah.
Because yes, there's enough pie for everyone to eat, but like, don't you want like 75% of the pie instead of 10% of the pie? And even to this day, sun care, Black Girl Sunscreen is leading the way. We have given, other brands I want to say the courage and the validation to speak to brown and black people on sun safety, but we're really the ones who started it.
Yeah.
So that was my fuel behind starting Black Girl Sunscreen and discovering that there was, I guess, this gap. So dermatologists weren't speaking to us. Legacy brands weren't speaking to us. There was no marketing that included deeper complexions using SPF. So there were just so many things that spoke volume to me in terms of why I should do this.
No. So I want to kind of come back in the story. So you get this idea. You're like, I see there's a play here I can make. There's some bit of science there, and then there's also manufacturing of it there. And I'm assuming you were not like a some sort of chemical biologist coming up. And so how does this happen? Like you get the idea. What's the step? What's the next step you take?
I consider myself intelligent and I consider myself resourceful. And the reason why I say those two things is because I'm going to figure out how to do it. And the next step, so beauty now has changed. The budget that I had was $33,000 of my own money. That today, I don't think that you're able to create a beauty brand with that. You need a little bit more capital. So the first step is, okay, what is it that you want to do different? Why are you even producing whatever it is you're trying to produce? So for us, it was discovering that Black people weren't wearing sunscreen because it made them look ashy. Now,
Mm.
what doesn't make you look ashy? Lotion. Nowadays, we call it moisturizer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we needed to create a product that was hydrating and moisturizing, aka not ashy. This is 8 years ago. No, I'm just being honest, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the vernacular has, transitioned over time. So the first step was, is this even possible? Is it possible to make a sunscreen that is moisturizing? Then you have to find somebody that's just as wild and crazy as you are. And not everybody is, especially when you go into an old industry that has been doing something the same way for 30 plus years. So when you push on them, they're just like, no, who are you? And that's what I was met with. No, who are you? And no, we're not doing this because this is not how it's done. So we did find a manufacturer and a chemist that, believed in what we were doing and wanted to grow with us. So once we were able to secure that, and funny story is that I was being strategic in the location because my mindset was narrow at the time. It was, hey, sunscreen could only be used in the sun. So I looked for manufacturers that were in sunny places.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
hmm So it does make sense, but now they're all over the place. So I have a list of all those manufacturers that I contacted 8 years ago, and now those same manufacturers that told me no 8 years ago are, hey, we have some formulas, or do you want to work with us? And my response is like, hey, do you still have such and such that works at your company? Because we reached out to you and you said that you couldn't do it. And they're like, no, 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 that's not what we said. I got the receipt, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was the next step. It's to find someone that could actually, jive with you, that believes in you, and that is a supporter, and not somebody that just wants to take your money. I would say the hardest part in securing the manufacturer though was getting our product timely, because you come in as a small customer,
Yeah,
and if
yeah.
you're producing, the minimum 5,000 units, and in sun care, it is a higher MOQ. It's not 1,000, it's not 500. It was 5,000 at the time.
Minimum order. You
That's
guys, just to break down the minimum order quantity, right?
Yeah, minimum order.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so it was just like we were small dollars to them. And I kept getting okay, it's going to be done next week. It's going to be done next week. It's going to be done next week. So, there were just many different hiccups along the way when it came to securing someone that was just as passionate as I was. So first, manufacturer slash chemist. Second, it was web developer, because we were going to, launch on .com. And again, this is narrow mind thinking. 8 years ago, I didn't think about scaling into retail. I
Yeah.
didn't know that, first of all, the product would be received like it is being received today. Like, do we even have potential? But also, like, I want all my margins. I want my margins to be almost 100%, as
Yeah.
high as possible. High as possible. So when you give to
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
retailers are taking 50%. So it was just my thinking had to develop, and it has developed as I've been in this role.
Yeah, I want to get more insights on you on what you learned that you didn't know coming in, because I think about, when you're particularly ordering things that are made specifically for you overseas, wherever you're getting your manufacturing done. You're getting samples back, and how many samples, even idea of like how long does it take to get to the actual one, and are you spending money all along when you're getting samples back that actually don't work for you?
Yeah, so it's two different answers. So now we're on iterations of maybe five, six, seven today, Black Girl Sunscreen, because we have deep rooted partnership with our manufacturers, and they want to make sure that they're securing the right packaging for whatever it is that we're doing. Year one, it only took me probably about 2 rounds, because sunscreen does have to live in a certain type of packaging because of the product and the testing, and all that. So there's not that many options. We did have a product catastrophe though, when we launched one of our face products called Make It Matte. We used a new supplier, and the product made the cap disintegrate.
Oh, wow.
So, that's what happened to us just by trying to diversify our
Yeah,
suppliers.
yeah.
And that's another thing that, like, some companies don't do, and do very well, is having more than one go-to.
Yeah. So if it's making, so I'm assuming it's not good for your skin either then, or was it just the
Right, and that's
packaging?
because they weren't able to give us what we needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was just the packaging. So nowadays it's like, people want to earn your business, and there's a lot of manufacturers out there. There's a lot, and some are producing, at a very low cost. So why wouldn't they send you as many options as possible to get, if they know your business is doing well, and you're cutting POs, purchase orders for 100,000 units, 200,000 units, they're gonna send you 8, 10 samples,
Yeah. Yeah. I
maybe
want.
even more.
Yeah. Oh, you said something about getting into brick and mortar and e-commerce. You got 100% of that brick and mortar. You splitting it with Target or Ulta or whoever you're partnering with, and you
Mhm.
called that your original thinking limited thinking. Can you say more about
Yes.
that?
Limited thinking because I didn't know the reach of the retailers. I thought that I could sell as much as they could. I could sell as much on Black Girl Sunscreen as a Target, as I swear to you, I thought this, as any other store that would put me in there. And why do I have to give away so much of it to them, and they don't really put the work in? That was my thinking.
Hmm. How did that
Has it
change?
changed? It's still, you know, um,
Because if they're not
like,
putting the work in, I mean, just putting you on the shelf doesn't make it sell.
no. So we're doing a lot of that marketing ourselves, right? What they'll say is like it's the reach, right? Because Walmart has, I don't know, over 4,000 locations. Ulta has a little under 2,000, the same as Target. So they're putting you in these geographies that you couldn't be in, right? They do have guests and customers that are walking down their aisles. But if you're a popping brand, right, and somebody doesn't go to your website, but they've heard about you and they're walking down the aisle of that store, now they might purchase you. So it kind of goes both ways. My thinking has changed by this. Is giving us more exposure. And unfortunately, as a Black owned business, we need validation. And when you get on the shelves of these major retailers, it now says to customers that you're not making product in your home. Now, if you know anything about anything, you can't make sunscreen at home. Uh, but for some other products, you can. But what the retailers say is, hey, this business has been vetted. They've gone through, our systems. They have the resources to fill the orders,
Yeah.
right? There's a lot of things that come with being in retail. And that's how my thinking has changed. Like, okay, this is going to propel the business to the next level.
How did those partnerships help you develop as a CEO and as a business owner?
Yeah, I would say that it has. Most people think that, okay, I'm not going to have a boss when I transition out of my 9 to 5 or my corporate job.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my goodness, you've just gained so many.
Yeah.
And when you're dealing with the retailers, you're not talking to somebody that may be like your equivalent, right? Like you're not talking to a CEO. You're talking to maybe, somebody first year at the job, a buyer,
Yeah.
right? You're talking to people in inventory management. You're talking to all these different levels, and
And
they're
they have
dictating,
control.
and they have control, and they can dictate your destiny,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
by saying yay or nay, you coming into their store, how many stores you're in, what products they want to carry, what price they want to carry it at, right? So now they have become really, I would say, a dictator almost of your business. One mistake that I admit making, and I will never do this again, the only regret ever that I have in Black Girl Sunscreen, ever, you ready for this,
Yeah.
Will,
Yeah. Yeah.
is allowing the retailer to dictate my price. Now that we have this price, we can never change. We've
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
changed it.
Yeah.
And I was green. I was green. I didn't know. And it was just so much excitement around going into the retailer that was just like, okay, you don't want to mess anything up, right? So like you go along with all the discounts and all these different programs that you have to spend money towards. Black Girl Sunscreen is not in any DEI program. We went into retail pre-pandemic.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes. So we go toe to toe with all the rest of the players in the sun care aisle. We don't have like, hey, because they're black owned business, we're gonna give them X.
yeah. When you think about you could, just getting on the shelf is you've just begun to fight the battle just because you still got to get off the shelf now. And you, well, before we started recording here, you started to talk a little bit about community and people galvanizing themselves around the story. Can you talk a little bit about building loyal and supportive customers, community members who believe in the vision and believe in the product, and how that helps you grow?
Well, first off, we named the company Black Girl Sunscreen. I named the company Black Girl Sunscreen. I say we because that's just my brain. And people have taken kind to that. Some people hate it. I laugh because I get it on both sides. And with that, women have seen that we are honoring their complexion by naming it Black Girl Sunscreen and being extremely attentive to what it takes to honor their complexion. So, with that, the community has supported us in pretty much almost everything that we have done, except for one launch recently. Another story. So, I would say that building the community has been probably one of the most successful things that we have done because people of color, black people, didn't grow up wearing sunscreen, right? So it's a new concept for many. Some people don't believe in the concept at all and will never wear it. And those are our biggest competitors.
Yeah, yeah,
But some have said, I'll be open minded and I'll try the product, and it works. And now I'm going to tell people about it. Most recently, I celebrated a new year, personal new year, and on that day, I woke up and I had some alerts because I have all my Google alerts turned on for my name and for the business.
yep,
And I don't know if people do that,
yeah. I do
but
it
it's
a hundred
important. It's
percent.
important. It's important that you do, right? Because real time, you're getting articles that are coming out about you or whatever that is. And I saw something come through, and I was like, I'll just click on this a little later. And when I clicked on it, it was a basketball player, right, talking about Black Girl Sunscreen. They partnered up with a retailer, and I got so many messages about this partnership. And what he had said in the video was, we need to talk about black-owned businesses. We need
Yeah,
to talk about it. And why I talk about this transit of the community is that this statement couldn't be any truer. And that is, listen, I need to tell people about Will. Will needs to tell people about Shontay and what she got going on and so forth. Because if we're not working together, then we're not building each other up.
yeah. Yeah, I want you to talk more about this community thing. And you talked about people supported you, and when you were out there. But there was a quote I found earlier from a different interview you had done where you said, the challenges were as every business owner faces the people not believing the product. Our challenge was literally our own community not understanding the whys of the product. So talk about how to get, because you said black people like, hey, you get ashy, and so talk about how you overcame. If what were the other things that people were like, I don't know about that, Shontay?
I could talk about one recently. So, Black Girl Sunscreen, we have a complete family now, right? So we kicked it off with our queen. We call her our queen because she's our number one seller. Every retailer wants her. Um, so she's an SPF 30. Okay, she's the original black and gold. She is photogenic. She is moisturizing. She goes everywhere. Okay, well,
I'm following. Yeah,
all right. So then we said, all right, um, people of color, black people don't know about sunscreen because we weren't taught as kids to wear sunscreen. So we need to get to the parents, we need to get to the kids. So we created BGS Kids. So then after that, we said, all right, let's do some sprays. So people that don't want to put on the lotion, they want to go quick sprays. Then we did a some seasonal stuff, and then we did a make it pop on the lip,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
SPF on your lips, right? For the girlies that again want to protect lips and eyes. Anyway, least protected things on your body. So then we said we got to do something for the fellas because when we go out to our activations, men are like, "Hey, your stuff is dope, but I don't know about that word girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't. Is that for me? Yeah, is that for me?" And we kept hearing it and hearing it and hearing it. So we said we're gonna make something for the men, and we did that. Well, now it takes about a year to formulate sunscreen because of all the testing. We want to get no fragrance, no fragrance. Black Girl Sunscreen has a no list. So anyway, we launch a product called BGS Men. I promise you, this is a real thing.
Yeah.
We launched it in August. What are we in October? Yeah, we launched this in August. And that thing got 5.7 million views on Twitter. And I promise you I'm going to answer your question, but I
Yeah.
got to set it up
Yeah.
first,
Yeah. I'm
okay?
tracking. I'm tracking.
So 5.7 million views on Twitter. You know how many views that is?
It's a lot.
It's a lot of views. There's 47 million black people in the United States.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Okay. So with that, it wasn't the best feedback. And we were so perplexed on why. Because we're out here in the streets, we're doing activations, I do talks, we're on social, we're a vibrant company. And we make products based off of what our community asks for.
Yeah.
So we launched BGS Men. So our community says, oh, it's stupid. Oh, it's the same ingredients. Oh, oh, Black Girl Sunscreen Men, make that make sense. But that's not actually the name. And people don't actually know that the brand is actually called Black Girl Sunscreen. And then we have products that fall underneath
That's
the
right.
brand
That's
name,
right.
right?
That's right.
So that's why it's the acronym BGS and then for men, right?
Right. Right.
So there was a discussion of, why do men have to have different products? Like, since when are cosmetic products gender specific? And it's just like, well, hold on. We did, an analysis on this, and not black, but men buy products that say for men on them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And are y'all attacking Dove? Are y'all talking Paula's Choice? Are y'all talking any other company that says for men and have products for women as well?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So this is what I'm talking about when I say it's our own people, because here we are, a company that is extremely supportive of women, supportive of female athletes. You jump into our inbox, you ask for samples, donations for your church, for your picnic, for your bridal shower. We're probably going to say yes if it's not an egregious ask. We donate monetarily. I do mentorship for free. Like, our company is literally 90% Black. And to hear feedback like that is just like, wow. Now, if it's constructive, then that's fair. But just to say, like, oh, Black men don't need products for them.
Yeah. Yeah. So that begs the question: if you were to go back to Shontay 8 years ago, 9 years ago, and you got this bright idea, would you name it something else?
No, no, it's a resounding no. And I say it with passion. I love Black Girl Sunscreen. Black Girl Sunscreen sent me on vacation for 2 weeks. So look, the reason why I named it Black Girl Sunscreen, it was intentional because I did say if we were to go to retail, if one day we were on the shelves, I wanted Black women of color to know that this is for them, because we don't know sometimes what's for us. Period. So there, we taking all the guesswork out. You know what the product is sunscreen, and it's for a particular skin type.
Yeah.
Yep. And actually, that's what has made us grow. It also has been limiting. I will say that. It has been limiting because our allies And people not of color will ask, "Hey, can I use this?" Some ignorant folks will say, "Will it turn me black?" Now we know damn well it won't turn you black. Now I've seen it in hair care too, though,
She said,
right? Where people have asked me like, "Hey, can you do this hair care?" Okay, well, have you used it? People of not color, have you used it? No, I didn't use it. I didn't think it's for my hair. Well, I think you should use it just to see how it works.
mhm.
But yeah, I love the name Black Girl Sunscreen. Um, for the people that have embraced us, they love the name too. And my executives think that it's probably the most brilliant name for the product.
Yeah. I want to talk about money because, you started with your own capital. You put $33,000 in, and, you know, you didn't come from an entrepreneurial background. You were studying, you were in school, you were on the corporate trajectory, and you said, I got this thing and I'm going to put my money in. And there's so many people who have this idea, have this thing that scratches at them, and they might be afraid to go in with their own capital. Can you speak to what gave you that confidence?
Yeah, so although I didn't have businesses prior to Black Girl Sunscreen, I was in a space that set me up to have the mindset of running a business. So my corporate experience, the way they set their business up was like, hey, you need to grow your business. How do you grow your business? So you need to have ways that's going to attract the customer from the competitor. You need to hire your own talent, train them, and retain them. You need to set up KPIs. You need to gain your own account, right? So before even starting Black Girl Sunscreen, I already was had the structure of running an organization, setting up an organization. I also have my MBA. Now that's textbook stuff. There's a lot of theories that I've forgotten, but um, we did a lot of damn case studies and we wore T-shirts to present it. So I say that to say that I felt equipped to start Black Girl Sunscreen. However, there were three questions that I did ask myself before actually launching the brand. The first one was, will people wear the product, Black Girl Sunscreen? The second one was, do I have the resources? The third one was, do I have the confidence? And this goes into what you just asked me. And once all three of those questions were answered, I executed. The confidence is a huge one because it comes and it goes. And at that moment in that day, I had it. And I had it because in all points of my life, I've had to be in a leadership role. I played the violin, I've done solo acts as a violinist, captain of the cheerleading squad. I was the treasurer on SG in my SGA senior class, uh, president at BSU, right? I'm also the oldest child. I'm the
Yeah,
oldest daughter
yeah,
and the oldest granddaughter on both sides.
yeah, yeah.
So I'm like my parents 2.0 for my siblings, right? So there are so many things that have impacted who I am as a leader in being able to start my business. Now, when I think about the $33,000, it's like, okay, start this business or down payment on the house.
Right.
I didn't even have the confidence to buy a house, but I had the confidence to start the business.
Like
I
that.
don't even know how that makes sense.
I like
But I
that.
wasn't ready for a house. I wasn't ready for a house. But I was like, you know what? Let me just try it. It wasn't baby money at all, but I believed in it. I had close friends tell me that shit ain't gonna work. Black people don't wear that. And now they asking me to speak on their panels.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, Shontay, oh, but I don't bring that up. So the confidence piece, right? So the confidence piece, I've had to have it in so many different situations. Now with the business is you don't know until you try. So at least just try. And for me, I'm not letting anything fail.
Yeah.
Oh no. I'll put the sunscreen in my book bag and go down to the beach and sell it before we go out of business.
Yeah, that
Oh
make
yeah, we gotta hustle.
yeah,
We gotta hustle.
that makes me think like what can be when you're talking about skincare, wellness, healthcare, all these, the sectors that you play in. It's very difficult, I imagine, to come up with like the MVP, the minimum viable product, just to prove that this thing I'm working on will work. Because you got to do the whole thing. You know, like kind of what you talked about. Like, you can't make this in your kitchen. You have to be for real, and you actually have to get people who are scientists involved. And so, how do you do the smaller thing first, just to prove that people will do it, or do you have to shoot from the 3 point line, half the court, full court, from the gate?
Yeah, you got to do the smaller things first. You got to do the nitty gritty stuff first before you can even. I think of my pie in the sky was to have a billboard, and we have like I don't know, like 8 billboards just in Los Angeles and several across the United States. So before we even got those, several billboards, we started with one. So my strategy for everything is crawl, walk, run. You got to crawl before you're even able to feel that ground beneath you to start walking and then start running. So doing the small things from me so I know how to do it to teach others. Because there's nothing in this company that I don't know anyone else can do that I can't. I mean, except for like Canva and stuff, I'm not that good.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
if I
But like, what's the small thing you can do to prove that somebody will buy this skincare product?
the small thing that you can do,
Or do you
to
just
prove
have to,
it,
or you really out on you? Because what I think about is, if I'm going to build an app, I can
yeah.
build a wireframe before I spend $1 on development and get in front of people and say I would use that app. Matter of fact, here's $5 to go build it. And what you're doing, you can't just go build this in your kitchen because there are chemicals involved.
So the smallest thing that I've seen, and it's actually not a small thing, it's a big thing, is people really misjudge my age. And they think I'm a lot younger than I am. And it's because of my skin. So when folks see my skin in beauty and in cosmetics, right, they automatically think that I'm wearing SPF.
Mm-hmm.
And the women and the men in my company, everyone is really just kind of like put together, presents very, very well. So I would say that one of the things that we do as an organization is how do we present? What is our skincare? Because if we are saying, hey, SPF will prevent sunburn and melanoma, but it also helps with these cosmetic things like hyperpigmentation, fine lines, and we look like something different, then is that true? So it's something that maybe people don't necessarily think about, but it goes a very long way. So I would say that is the smallest thing that I do to say, here you go. Okay, yes, I'm going to buy that Black Girl Sunscreen because look at Shontay. Now, if they can't see me, it's going to come from other people. And what is their reviews? What are their remarks about Black Girl Sunscreen? So that would be the tip. Hopefully that answers your question
Yeah.
well. I've actually never been asked that before, and I'm glad that you asked me that. But if somebody were to ask me that again, it would be the same answer.
Dig it. How, when you came into the game, you said, you wanted to do this business. You wanted to also make some money, which I love that. And so how do you measure success? Being successful now, how do you measure success compared to that Shontay when that was just getting started? What are the
Yeah.
things that you shoot for now?
Um, Happiness for my employees. So there are 25 of us, and it's important to me that they come here and they fulfill their passion. So let's say we hire, I don't know, somebody that's into photography. Like, okay, so they love to do photography outside of Black Girl Sunscreen. Bring that same energy here, right? So my measurement of success is how are the individuals in this organization doing? Because that's the only way we're going to grow. Do they understand where our business is going? We have town hall meetings where we include the entire organization, and we're extremely transparent on our financials, on expansion, on innovation. So everyone is, some, uh, you know, hopefully bought in. So that's how I'm measuring success, is based off of other people. For myself, um, hmm, the goalpost always moves for Miss Lundy.
I imagine so.
Um, yeah, I won't say that I'm never happy, because I'm always happy, but I know that there's more to me. There's
Hmm.
more to me. So, in terms of my career, I feel very happy. Outside of the career, there's more stuff to be done. Could I handle another business? Probably. What is it though?
Yeah.
I got 3 dogs. Do I want another one? I mean, I want a farm. Like, there's just so many different things that I just think about. So success for me, main thing, since we're talking about business, is the mindset of the people that I have around me, because that's very important to me. It shapes my energy. It makes me want to come to the office every single day.
Finally, there are people who are earlier in the stages of their journey, and they look at you and they're like, how do I get to where she is? And it's not always going to be easy. And so how do you encourage people that those dreams, those goals, those visions that they see, even in the face of people who don't believe, even in the face of adversity, what kind of things would you tell them about what you've seen that prove that this is possible?
Yeah, and I mean, even coming in with the name Black Girl Sunscreen, most people would think like that's so limiting. You're not going to be able to grow with that type of name, because you are excluding so many people from the market, from your product, right? Men and people of not color. And what I would say to someone that is, very fresh and a little timid, is, if you can, follow your intuition. And that's what I've always done, and that's what I continue to do. And if you're able to follow your intuition, so whatever your thought is, you move on that, regardless of what anybody else says. You have to clear out that minutia, right? And the minutia comes from the people closest to us, unfortunately. So it may be your friend saying that ain't gonna work. It may be your friend that doesn't even post your business, and that's hurtful.
Yeah.
They post everything else. They posting everybody's birthday, but they're not posting your birthday. You got to look past that, right? And do it for you, or whatever motivation you have. So first thing is follow your intuition. The second thing is consistency, continuity. So okay, I have a series called Shontay series. It probably gets like 500 views. I'm not stopping it. I'm going to keep going, because I'm sharing my tips and my experiences on my business.
Yeah.
And that's something that I want to do, regardless of what other people think of it or not, right? I'm being consistent in what I'm doing. I'm consistent in how I show up every single day to this office, upbeat, motivating, and about the business. Now, I'm not saying I don't have bad days, but I don't need to share that with them. And if I only have 80% to give, I'm going to give 100% of that 80%.
No.
So, following your intuition, consistency, and then strategy. So, I mentioned earlier that my strategy for everything is crawl, walk, run. You don't have to go big on everything that you do. Stop watching other people, because what's for them is not for you, and what's for you is not for them. So have a plan in everything that you do, if you can. And sometimes you gotta wing it. Nobody needs to know that you're winging it. No one. So I gave 3 pieces of advice to someone that could be just starting, but also someone that just needs to hear a little bit of motivation. Hopefully it helps.